Welcome back to the Community Resource Minute. I'm Todd Blanton, the one-stop operator for the Kentucky Career Centers here in the Bluegrass. And on today's edition, we have with us Carrie Koo from the Danville-Boyle County Humane Society. So, Carrie, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Todd.
Great to have you on. So, today, Carrie, we're going to talk about a couple things, but most notably up front here is the Home for the Holidays initiative that you guys have going on there at the Humane Society. A little bit about it. Obviously, we want folks to always visit their local animal shelters and humane societies to adopt their pets. But if they're not quite ready to adopt a pet, you're going to talk to a little about fostering a shelter animal during the holiday season. So, Carrie, I'll turn it over to you.
Fostering is essentially a way to help save lives without making a lifetime commitment. Being in a shelter is a novel, stressful environment. Smells, different sounds, people constantly running around you. So it's not a great environment for dogs or cats. Of course, we do everything we can to enrich their lives here, but there is nothing like being in a home. And that can be a week and a half, a few months, or that can be a weekend. That can be a couple hours. Research shows that even a small amount of time beyond shelter walls has a significant impact on stress levels. And this is science. Scientists have studied the cortisol levels of animals while they're in the shelter, and then after a brief time, after a longer time, in a home setting. And the cortisol levels drop significantly, and they stay down for a period after the dogs come back to the shelter. So any amount of time is going to make a significant difference in a dog or cat's life. So having said that, the holidays are an excellent time to foster. Dip your toe into fostering, as it were, because you're home most of the time, or you have, a lot of folks are home, and that gives them time to spend with the animal. And we really get to learn about the animals when they're in a foster home. Here behind bars, dogs aren't going to show their true personality. Most of them bark and jump. And when they get into a home, the first thing they do is curl up somewhere and sleep, often for hours, just because it's peaceful and quiet. So the benefits for the animal are limitless. I mean, it's just so much better for them to be in a family setting and in a home.
I think, as the viewers are watching and they're hearing you talk, I think a couple questions come to mind. What makes a home a good place to foster an animal? Are there certain requirements that you guys look for? I mean, I think nobody may have realized, I know I sure didn't, that there was short-term kind of things that really benefit the animal. So I think, maybe talk a little bit about like what would make my home a good fit if I was interested in doing this.
Well, any home would make a good fit. And this is key because, we used to put up a lot of, there are kind of obstacles when you have requirements, right? And a lot of folks think they need a huge backyard fenced in, or the animal has to have the run of the whole house. And again, all we want to do is get them into an environment where they're not dealing with everything that happens at the shelter. Now, of course, it's ideal, sure, if you had space to, isolate the animal for a while. If you had a course in your backyard for them to run agility. These things are not necessary, especially with a cat or a smaller animal. You have a spare bathroom, you can set that up. They're just happy to be out of a cage. It's not necessarily about specifics in the home environment. Does that make sense?
Absolutely does. That answers a lot of questions I'm sure the viewers may have had. So I appreciate you expanding on that a little bit. So somebody's watching today, they're interested. What steps do they need to take? What do they need to do to get in touch with you guys to try and get involved with doing something like this?
The beginning step is you can email me at info@dbchs.org. We also, if you go to our website, there's a link to fostering. We have a brief application. It's hardly even an application. It's mostly just to get your demographic information. And then we hook up, email, conversation on the phone, discuss your what your capacity is. We certainly don't want to send a giant dog home with someone that has tiny little kids that could get knocked over. Obviously, we do a brief screening, but the key is to have as many obstacles out of the way as possible. We don't want to prevent someone from fostering for some random reason. So we do have a conversation first. Then if you have resident pets, we want to do a meet and greet with our pet, unless we know for sure that everyone is friendly. And we do have cases like that sometimes. But just like people, not every animal gets along with another animal. So we want to make sure you're safe and feel comfortable with the pet that's going to be in your home. And that's how we get rolling. After we decide there's a match, we'll provide everything you need. A lot of times folks already have things they need, but we certainly we'll provide food, bed, toys, and obviously all the vetting is something that we're responsible for. So, we want to make it turnkey. We want it to be like a visitor that doesn't cause you any problems, right? The visitor that brings all the stuff they need, sleeps on the floor, stuff like that.
Awesome. Well, I think that all sounds great, and I'm sure there's some folks out there that would be interested to take advantage of this. So, you've given us the idea environment. You've told us about how to get involved. So, before we close, I'll open the floor up to you one more time if there's anything else you'd like to share, because I think it's been valuable information and maybe something that a lot of viewers didn't know even existed. So I'll give you another quick second or two just to kind of reiterate anything that you might want to.
Absolutely, I appreciate it. I think the key is, there's a lot of myths about fostering. Oh, I'll keep the dog. I don't have enough room. I don't have time. All of those myths can be dismissed if you try, right? All you have to do is try. And we are not going to force you to keep an animal for any longer than you can, obviously. And it's rare that we have any issues because we do the work on the front end. But I would encourage you, call your local humane society or shelter and just see what opportunities they have. I know we also have a program called Doggy Day Out here, and that is literally just an afternoon out somewhere. So my guess is your shelter or humane society also has opportunities to get animals out of the shelter one way or another, and we appreciate the help.
So, Carrie, some of the viewers may be interested to know, I know that you're there in Danville and Boyle County, but do you have to be a resident of Danville or Boyle County to get involved with the fostering program with you guys?
Absolutely not. We have neighboring counties that folks come from all the time to volunteer and also foster. There is one key, though. The fosters will be responsible for getting animals back and forth to the vet. Again, we pay for all of that, but we aren't able to go out and collect them and take them back and forth to the vet. So we make sure that's clear ahead of time. And if it's not something folks can accommodate, we completely understand. But yes, we are open to anyone who wants to foster. We cast a wide net.
All right. Well, Carrie, I appreciate you so much for coming on with us today. That was Carrie Koo with the Danville-Boyle County Humane Society, giving us some valuable information about fostering shelter animals and how you can get involved with the shelter there in Danville. But I'm sure that those services are available to the residents of many counties throughout our area. So reach out to your local Humane Society or animal shelter like Carrie suggested. So Carrie, thanks so much for coming on.
I appreciate you, Todd. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And tune in to next time's edition of the Community Resource Minute. I'm Todd Blanton, one-stop operator for the Kentucky Career Centers here in the Bluegrass. Thanks for watching.